was let's see,
Hello, we're back for part 3. Hi, Beth.
I'm going to be drawing here on my paper, and I was thinking about having a my artwork over here, and I don't know if holding down a shift key will make my there's my 5-inch squares, this 5-inch square, and then I'm going to use the go in again and make where I would like to put my other squares. And if I grab this, if it's like anything, I don't know if I can select any of these things and copy them, or you have to just draw them again like that. That's kind of, so we're going to need to have our 3 squares for our tertiary, and those are the tertiary colors, right? And then this is the basic color. And then I'm going to write something down here, and I'm going to make a column and write something down here. And then I might put these are all going to have little lines here. So let's just draw little lines. So lines are going here like this, like that. And then I'm going to put let's put my title over here somewhere. So yeah, so that would be one way of doing it that I probably would never use again. But if you want to play around with that idea, you could. I'm going to close this now and go back to me, and I'm speaking now, so I'm going to but I'm not showing. So maybe I want to share screen and show the desktop. So I want to share me on the desktop. Oh, that's not quite there yet. Well, okay. So you saw my digital version of my drawing. I would put it on probably on my paper version, and then I would get out my new file in InDesign. So I'm going to do File, New Document. So I'm going to do a new document here, and I'm going to pick the document size, which is, well, I'm going to just name my file first, which is going to be last name underscore, and this is capital or just lowercase p 9, and I'm going to be using a landscape orientation. I'm going to be using inches in this case, and so it's a 11 wide by 8.5. I may know enough to have columns from my, I think I'm going to just try 3 columns for the heck of it. And this gutter is from one pica gutter that's for 1p6. You can enter 1p6 if you have I have a ruler here, the letting ruler that has the markings on it that we got for class. And I can use this to measure things on my page. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm just going to go ahead with 1/2-inch margins. And I have no slug or bleed, so I can just go here and I'm going to be doing it for print. Remember that, yeah, sort of print. I could do a bleed on it without a problem because it's going to be a PDF. But then gonna, oops, I'm going to go back to document setup and get to none of my things came out, so I must have been talking at the time. So I'm going to go back up to over to document setup and see if I don't have my columns in there. Just layout. Hmm, hmm. Layout margins and columns up at the top. Can do it there. So I'm going to do 3, and I'll just leave that gutter there when I preview it. And I might decide that I want to move one of these. So I have an image that is going to be a rectangle, and I'm going to go to File, Place, and or that's going to be a square, and I'm going to place the 5th image right here. Uh-huh. Okay, and so I'm going to erase that. So Command D is also place, and let's see if I can let me just take these over here, and I'm going to I'm placing this on the screen, and I'm thinking that having this over to this side would be good for, I maybe want to have a little bit more space here. I can go back in to layout margins and columns up at the top, and I could say I'm going to not make all settings the same, but I want I do want to have just one page, so I'm going to go up to layout, say okay here, go up to layout margins and columns, and I think that I have to go back all the way to here to document setup and make sure that I have no facing pages. So turn off facing pages there. So write that down, turn off facing pages in document setup so that you're just dealing with one page. So this is where you want to either have notes going on your screen or notes going on a piece of paper, because I was talking and didn't pay attention, and so I got 2 columns, and that's not really what we want. Okay, because then when I go back up to here and I do margins and columns to change that, it's letting me know that it's left and right, not outside and inside. And so I want, on my left side, I'm going to do something more like 7 over here and do that. And so that I have a little more space over here on this side. And then I have going to probably be doing my type like this. You can do type placeholder text if you want to. I'm going to go and pull a ruler out of this margin over the ruler off to the side and put my controls over there. And I'm holding down the command key for when I want to select something. And that would be the control key on a PC. And then I have some little, I want a primitive over here, so I go over, it has the ellipse tool at the top, and so I want a rectangle tool. And in this case, I'm going to hold down the shift key and make my little squares. And then I'm going to go down here and reverse the fill, and then go up to window and come down to color, and you can come to color there, or you can come to color in color in swatches. So it, and then you can fill this, make this color right here something where you can pull this down here. I can mix certain colors, but I'm just going to go ahead and make that green, and to represent the one of the colors. And then I'm going to hold down my shift key and my option key and drag this down and make a copy of it. And I should be able to do that again. Now I'll just do this like that. And so then we have one that's a little bit different. So maybe we'll just put that there and put that there. These are sort of, yeah, those are sort of going to represent. Oh, let's see if I can do this. I get my, yeah, there, that's much better. So I am now holding down clicking on the square, and then holding down the eyedropper tool and clicking on the, well, that worked for that one time. The eyedropper tool is supposed to work for color here. So, oh, got it. So I'm going to then click on this one, except it's not the right one, and go for color there. So much for that. But you are going to want to be able to do this, so I'm going to persist here. So I'm clicking on this one, and I want it to be this color right here. And the new eyedropper tool is should work. Yes. Sometimes it takes twice for eyedroppering for some reason I found. And so I'm going to get the eyedropper and do that one there, and then click on this one, and this is so that you can make your colors and use the eyedropper in so press on the eyedropper and make sure that I'm using the eyedropper tool, and then I go click on the color. So it's a little bit clunky for some reason. With each version of InDesign, the eyedropper tool, since CS6, each version of the CCs has been very clumsy eyedropper-wise, because they added some more pieces to it, so they took away from the original one. Okay, so I'm going to go up here to type and get my type tool right here in the toolbar off to the side. And I'm going to kind of lay out, I'm holding down the command key now and clicking that frame that I used. And I'm going to press and drag this right here. And then I'm going to go up to type. And again, these 5 words would be something you'd want to be writing down. So you go to the type menu, you go all the way down to fill with placeholder text. And this is going to fill with whatever text you have in here. So never use 12 point for body text. Just don't do it just because it's there by default. So 10 point is plenty. And very often you have the leading of 12 points with that. Maybe that's why. And then I'm going to use a Minion Pro a serif typeface. And I'm now when I go into click on my type frame and I go to fill with placeholder text, it's going to be filling with the text that I picked. And that's probably going to be a little too wide for the type. So I would probably want to go and look and see what's in the image that would be suggesting that maybe right there would be where I'd want my text string to be. And I can go down to 9-point type as well. So I might pull a guide from my ruler. I just go and drag a guide from my ruler. And then I'm going to click on the output of the text frame down there at the bottom. And then I'm going to press and drag between here and here. And by the way, none of these guide colors show. Then I'm going to do something that I always do and tell my students right away to do, and that's to align to bottom by selecting both of these. And you go to align to bottom, you can search up here for it, but it's text frame options, and I always remember it because it's Command or Control B for me. Whereas if you've got a control letter that is your name, it's easier to remember. So I can click on it there, but Command B then comes up, and I want the justification aligned bottom. Type in publications is always aligned to bottom. It's not hovering a fraction of a measurement above the margins that are containing it. So blam, bottom, aligned to bottom. And I might decide that I'm going to select all of that, and I might decide that I want it to be 9, and then I might decide that I want it to be going over to paragraphs. So the two main areas are the character formatting controls and the paragraph formatting controls, and it has to do with characters primarily. That's where you go, and it has to do with formatting. That is formatting any kind of thing on the page. You would click on this side, and that's where you have the left alignment, center alignment, right, justify all lines, justify with the last line aligned center, and justify with the last line aligned left. And so I might do that, and then I might go in just to see how that would look all filled up. And and then fill that with the selection arrow at the top. You select these guys and then go up to type. And this isn't a keystroke thing. You have to know that you have to have written down those 5 words back when I told you to write down the 5 words, because it's at the bottom of a menu that you might forget what the top of is. And so that would be where I get filled with placeholder text, just to kind of see how that text would look there. And then I would want to figure out a way to put a name, a strong name on this, and all of you will have different type in your work. And so the title of it may be actually stated in it might be in the handout, that what you put on here. So let's just go and find a place where our type could go unobtrusively. Maybe it can go up here. This could also come all the way to the top and have the or these could come down. Again, this your starting point might be a little bit different, but so I'm pulling this text frame in, and I might just want it to say Project 9. So how could I do something that's complementary? So I might want to go in and look at some typefaces. There's type to look at here, or there's type to look at here in fonts. And I probably wouldn't want to take away from, Bauhaus might be kind of interesting, but it might be too characteristic of the original. Avenir might be nice, and I'd have to go in and actually select it. Yeah, so Avenir, I could try Avenir light and make it extra large. So Shift Command greater than makes the type large. This is all caps right here, and Option key with the left arrow is tracking, and so on the keyboard you have your up, down, left, right, and I'm clicking my right arrow actually. So I might want to do something that's pretty big like that and very light, and I might want to make it a little bit bigger like that. And Shift Command greater than, that would be Shift Command, probably Shift Control greater than, would be your making the type bigger little by little. And you might want to go in and get the eyedropper tool and see if it'll turn the type into that color. So it might be really a subtle color like that, and then you might take your, and alignments are important. Each time you put something on the page, you want to be thinking about alignments. And so if you have a layout and it's not working for you in real life, then you want to pay attention to what really is. And then Shift W, Shift W, Shift W is fit in window view so that you can check it out. And it's a toggle, so when you do Shift W again, it works like that. So you might have actually more that you want to say here. And so you might have, I'm going to hold down my Shift key and my Option key to drag over another little chunk of type. And so this type, you might actually, this isn't connected anymore. But if I did want to connect it, this is a good thing to know. So if I have another text frame here without any type in it, I select all, Command A, delete, delete, and do like this, and bring this back down here like that, and put it there, and click on this type right there, and this little output right down here, the little this little thing, it doesn't grow in size. This is an output at the bottom right side of your text frame. That's what connects all the type to all of the other columns. Makes it flow between the columns. So Command Z, I didn't mean to do that. So Shift W, and I want to see everything on the page. So there you go. I haven't had to do this for a while. This is the one I automatically do, where I show the what's on the screen, and I can't remember how to do it. John?
What are you not being able to do?
Yeah, it's just a keystroke to show what's on the screen. I do it automatically, but now
Keystroke
that,
to show what's on the screen.
yeah, it shows the columns, that shows everything that's on the screen, not the background. If I keep talking, I probably,
What if you hit escape? Wait, are you in some kind of full screen mode? If you hit escape,
no, I'm just in a show screen, and it's Shift W is supposed to, now I've got escape going on, so that's added an extra thing to it. Yeah, well, that's really interesting.
are you trying to change your view?
I'm trying to see the what's on the screen. This is just
What's on the screen? I mean, we're seeing your screen. I don't know what you mean.
all of the markings, all of the type.
Oh, you mean the
of
rulers? Wouldn't that be show rulers? Show rulers and guides or something?
But I don't. I'm in a place where I can't.
Shift W.
I think you're not seeing the menu because of you're in sharing screen mode. I think maybe Zoom is obscuring your top menu a little bit. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So maybe if you stop sharing, then you can get to that menu.
Try Shift W in like display mode.
Yeah, Shift W is displaying it. That's what I'm in, and it's supposed to toggle back and forth, but it's showing something different from. There we go. So so the view then we want to be screen mode normal, and we want the view to be paging window like that. So let's go back and see what that view is Shift Command 0. So yeah, so I do those things automatically, but I haven't done them while I'm talking in a while. So meanwhile, back to what we were looking at. So when you click on the out port down here at the bottom, and then you click into the next frame, then when it knows that it's going to be Nancy here, click on this next frame right here like that, then you go to type and fill with placeholder text, and as many columns as you put there will fill automatically with placeholder text. So I might have a bit to say here about this project, and you could use this theme here, and I think going bigger with the type.
You're not showing your screen. You're not sharing, you know.
Okay.
We only see you.
Okay. Sorry, guys.
That's all right.
All good.
It's down here. I took it away.
Share screen, the green button at the bottom.
I know it's covered.
Oh, okay.
It's covered. I know where it is. There it is. Share. Okay. Meanwhile, back at the layout. And so what I was doing was I was making that extra big and tracking it out. So I want to do a Shift Command that's less than Shift Command, Command Z. I want to track it in, and this one there. So Shift Option left arrow tracks this in, and so I'm reducing tracking so that I can increase the size of the, and then I do shift command greater than. And that is, greater than is the little greater than sign, less than sign. And so I want this type to be big and closer together. So I shift option, contracting it, shift command greater than to bigify it. And
You know that you don't have 9 selected.
yes, I know that.
Okay.
Uh, so I would go and see what that is, and it's 50. So I could do shift command greater than for the 9 until it gets, I look at the size up there and get it up to command.
9 should be bigger and P should be bigger.
These are all 50 now in terms of the actual. So the 9 appears to be smaller, so that would maybe speak to it being individually enlarged just slightly. But the idea is that if you want this to align to the top, you would also go to command what? What I did to align it to the bottom? It's the first letter of bottom. Command what?
Command B. Command B.
B, okay.
Bring it back.
Command B also aligns to top. So this would be, and align it to the bottom, say okay, like that. Command B, I can align it to the top, and it should go up to the top, but it doesn't because it's got some kind of tracking above it or leading or something like that. So the font size might have a little bit of leading to it. So you would want to look at that. You also look in the paragraph and make sure that there's no space before paragraph. Again, these little symbols, space before, that space between, space, right indent, left indent. All of these things, when you hover over them, tell you what they are. They try their best to do it with symbols, but it's not the greatest. So for these, you then might want to make yourself a little, and probably be going down in here to maybe 9 and maybe 11, maybe 8, and filling those with placeholder text. This is just for look. Again, fill with placeholder text does not have a command for it. It's just to give you a sense of what the text might look like. And so you can start to see how your pages get put together, and these two need to be right there. And then these 3 here need a little space above them. And then they're called, are these the tertiary colors here? And then you might want to, just to see how it looks, you might want to see what the, what was this one was Avenir. So you might want to just go into here. You could go in here and look and see what had been used. You might want Avenir condensed for the titles. You might want to just see what these are all about. So you would want it to be kind of a relative of the heading, because we're using something that is kind of complementary. I think a great big sans serif typeface with given the what we've got going on in the image would not be the greatest. And I'm not sure why that type's not aligning to top, but I would want to be paying attention to all the alignments. And again, alignments, when you get in close here, Command spacebar lets me zoom in. Alignment isn't to the invisible thing right here, it's to the visible thing. So it's to this part right here. So if I align this to there, it's misaligned. It's not real. That's not real. This is the real thing. And so you would deliberately go in and see that this has to be aligned to there. And sometimes with a T, you want to have the T go beyond, because the strongest alignment on a T is the vertical. So you have to look at the letter shapes, not the text frames around them. They're just holding the text. And then I'm going to do what was that again? There we go. No. I just eliminated everything, got rid of everything inadvertently. So these would be your main tertiary colors. These would be the amounts in each of the color shades. Again, these may be entirely too big, and so that you would want to see if you could make them smaller. This is just a first draft. Even though you're looking at things that look very regular and so forth, and you've got a few lines down, it's still just a draft until you look at it and make sure that everything is the Shift W, and now it's really all too low. So I'd probably do select all with the Command A, hold down the Shift key so it's all moving up about the same amount, and do a Shift W to see how that looks. So these would be, so this is sort of, it's close, but you would be fine-tuning your type and making sure that all of the elements that are in the colors that you're labeling on the right, I think it's far too big for one thing. So I'd probably get them down to about there like that, and do this right over here like that. And so I'm holding down the Shift Command to reduce these. Shift and Command as I push in on the bottom. And then you'd have enough space for your type. And I might keep the type in Avenir. And maybe see how it looks and look. And so something that's unassuming like that. And so setting up this part is one of the hardest things because it's so busy. So you would want to look at the examples I showed that are in Canvas, and then think about what you need to have there. And it might be that these are all too close to what you've got going on. You might want to have them over here. You might want this to be squinched in a little bit more, then moved over a little bit more, and so that it's less crowding. And then you do a Shift W to see what that looks like. So it depends on how much you have to say. And I would even consider maybe going and trying something I haven't looked at in a while with this much. One of my favorite typefaces because of its amazing, it's italic, is Cochin. And Cochin has a lower X height. You can see that kind of outrageous italic it's got going on there. And you wouldn't want to put it in italic. But Cochin has a really low X height. And it, just by itself being on the page, with all the same leading, it all of a sudden adds a whole point or two to the leading at the same size as the other one, and starts to look a lot more friendly. So that's Cochin as compared to, let's see if it commands the, so that's the difference. This or this.
Beth, we have about 10 minutes left, just so you know.
Okay. Well, I only have about 5 left.
Uh-huh, I'll bet. I know how your 5 minutes goes.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Okay. There we go. All right. So how long did that take? That's my new 5, John. So you just experienced my new 5.
Really? That's good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm learning to, I'm getting this tucking and time reduction. Kind of, I'm going to the gym and having the, putting all of that time through the ringer. And it's reducing those kinds of spells that I used to have. So sometimes, because things are on the side, you could actually go and see if you wanted to put this on the side and let's see, rotate. So I'm going to just go to R and hold down the shift key and hold down the command key and see what happens with that. Yeah, you want to try it. That doesn't work for me at all. So maybe rotate it even more. There. Oops. Yeah, so you could rotate it to go with your layout. Okay, that's 5 minutes, right?
I think, well, maybe even 6 or 7, not sure.
I just want to add a little bit to it so I could get a feel for the old 5 minutes before I got the reduction plan. So that would be kind of what you're looking at here. And then these little guys would move them down here like that, whatever they got going on here. I don't know titles like that. So, and it's just W to start to see how it looks. And I've lost my title altogether. Yeah. R is rotation. Once you select something, and you hold down the shift key, then it should do like that. that works in Illustrator and I think Photoshop too. Again, when you're doing something like this, it takes quite things change once you get them from your thumbnail onto the screen and onto the page. I say both screen and page because it could look great on the page, but if you're going to a printout, it might not work too well. So let's just go ahead and save this, and then we go and I want to export it. When you're doing a PDF, it would be exporting it. And I could have things going off the edge of the page in this case because I'd be exporting it and not sure if it's going to the desktop or not. But let me just. But this is how it looks at this stage, which isn't too shabby. You don't have your real words in there. You have your enough space. You have your information down and that kind of thing. So it would normally take quite a bit more time than that. I don't like the little orangey square, rusty orange square needs to be at the nearest strongest alignment. So I'd go in there and make sure that I have a guide down there by pulling a guide from the ruler like that, and then making sure that this is reinforcing the nearest strongest alignment. Whoops, command U, and just clicking it like that, and then a shift W to see. Oops. When things aren't aligned, they aren't aligned. So yeah, that's to me at this point noticeable. So I have a friend who used to do the, I tell the story a lot. It was head designer of the UC publications, and he could see a 1/16 of an inch off across the room. I remind my students of that because you're going to be working for somebody like that. Somebody like that's going to be your boss, and you wanted at this point. I saw that was a 1/16 of an inch off, but that's really close, and I had guides, but now it's right on, but it was off before. Yep.
Okay, that was my timer warning. We're getting close to the end here.
Okay, so is there any quick questions about getting this from your computer to your page? Oh, or from your Photoshop to your layout? What's this?
People are muted. If you want to say something, you should unmute yourself.
Oh,
I'll unmute everybody. Okay. Now they have to unmute themselves. Okay. No questions?
Not really.
Okay, I guess we're going to wrap up.
So same time next week?
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, folks. This is going to conclude our recording.
I might have a question.
Yes.
Are the recordings labeled at all, like what we discussed in what class?
They're labeled by class.
Okay.
So they're labeled by date.
All right.
So it's like class of, 414 or class of 47 or something.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, then I think we're going to call it a wrap. I am going to close this out. Here we go.
Good class, y'all. Be safe.
Later.
You too. Thanks for having Escher in the background.
Oh, yes. Love Escher.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Okay.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.